Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all watching us from across the globe. It's HR Digest again, and it's learning time. HR Digest is brought to you by Sedat Consult and Quick Fix Creatives. Quick Fix Creatives, it's always available and ready to help you with all your printing needs. So if you do need anything as quick and creative as possible, then the person or the people to go to are the Quick Fix Creatives. You can reach them on 055209 90057, 055209 0057. And for setup consults, you can reach us on 0244 629245, 0244 629245. We are your number one stop shop for all your HR needs, from recruitment to exit and anything in between. We are your number one stop shop. You're welcome once again. Today, our topic is going to bother on unionization, how to navigate it as HR professionals, how to navigate unionization and manage unions in environments as HR professionals, the procedure, whatever it takes to maintain a harmonious relationship in the workplaces, everything in between. And we have with us a very experienced professional in that area. And as usual, HR Digest, we don't disappoint. You're going to have it as you've always known and wanted. So we have with us Esther. He says, if this name I get it wrong, I would cut around. So just get ready. Esther Pefuame is an accomplished professional in industrial relations. She's a human resource practitioner. She's also into alternate dispute resolution. She has built a diverse career dedicated to fostering harmonious and productive workplaces. Her expertise lies in navigating complex labor relations, implementing effective HR strategies, and resolving disputes through mediation, negotiation, and arbitration. Esther is a member of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners and has earned recognition as a listed mediator with the National Labor Commission. So the last bit says it all. She has earned recognition and is a listed mediator with the National Labor Commission. And so we are going to tap into that knowledge this afternoon. So yes, before Esther comes on, wherever you are listening to us from, make sure you indicate it in the comment box. And as we go along, also ensure that your questions are coming in, your comments are coming in, and we shout out to you. We'll also read out your questions. So now, shall we welcome our resource person, my own sister. I have known her from far, Esther, to join us. Hi, Esther.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
It's a rare privilege to have you on set today with me. You know, it's not always, it's not common to have your sister on the other side and then put questions to her. So today, we are going to be at it, and I know that's your best. So thank you, Esther, for making time and being with us.
Thank you. It's my
Yes. So our audience, like I said, we are going to have a good time here learning about navigating trade union and unionization procedures with Esther. I see Samuel who says, hi Vera, Sam from Massey. Thank you, Sam, for joining us. Sam, remember to share with your friends and family, invite people, share the link, let them join in. So Esther, tell us, what do we need to know about trade unions and unionization procedures in Ghana?
Thank you very much, Vera. Like Vera said, we are sisters. But I promise you this afternoon, I'm not going to cause any trouble because there are strangers around us here.
Yesterday.
After this program, then when we meet, then we do our things.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and thank you. I am excited to share your company this afternoon. It's my pleasure. We are going to have a conversation around trade union procedures, and I encourage you to ask questions and make contributions so that at the end of the program, we all have something to carry along as experienced professionals in nature. Thank you very much, Vera. Trade unions, if I may continue, are organizations formed by workers to protect and promote their collective and economic, social needs and interests. In Ghana, our laws allow trade unionism because they play a vital role in representing workers' interests. They negotiate the working conditions for workers, such as working conditions, wages, benefits, and they engage with employers and governments on employment and non-employment issues. They also serve as the collective voice for workers, aiming to improve their working conditions and protect their rights. And one thing we should know as practitioners is that trade unions are established under the Labour Act 2003 at 651. So trade unions are working within the law. So that is what trade unions are, who they are. Some of us know or hear trade unions, but we don't really understand what they are and why they should be in our environment or in our space. But we should know that the law of the country and even our constitution give us the right to association and to join or form a union. So they are protected by law in Ghana. And if you look at the unionization landscape in the country, we have various unions representing various and different sectors of the workers. Like if you, I want to give you an example, we can hear because they are always in the media and our space, the medical association, the NATS, the concerned teachers, because the laws give us the privilege or the rights to join or form a trade union. Myself and Vera can form a trade union. Any two or more workers. That's what the law says. So, in a brief, that's what trade unions are. And if you look at 651, Section 79, Clause 1 says freedom of association. So, if the law says we have that right to form an association, the two of us, anywhere, even the Constitution says so, and at the workplace. So, the union has the right to be in our space under the law. So briefly, that's what the trade unions are. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. They have the right, they have the backing of the law, and they have the freedom to form the association and be in our midst.
Yeah.
But I know that sometimes, as employers, we are uncomfortable with the trade unions. What are some of the key benefits and challenges that HR professionals encounter, and how do they navigate that with the trade unions?
You know, in our community, in our learning processes and procedures, in our living, we have something we call previous knowledge or previous experiences. In those days, trade unions were antagonistic, but that is the experience we carry on because they were operating under different laws. Now, the Labour Act is a negotiated law that takes cognizance of the employer and the employee. So, the background that we had that they are difficult, they are troublesome, they disturb us in our work environment has changed. If you have conversation and discussion about the relationship with them, talk to them, have useful conversation, see them as social partners because that is what they are and who they are. They have the interests of the organizations too at heart. I've been dealing with trade unions for over 15 years now, and a lot of them now are very, very cooperative and have their discussion on a win-win situations. So as HRs, we need to come to the reality today that one, the law backs them. Two, they help us to even manage our team. Because now there's a referee who is a third person, who is the trade union. When the workers and the organization is not there, the trade unionist knows that they are not there. And they know that the employer too has a right and duties. And they, the trade unions and the employees who have a right. So they have conversation around the relationship. So we should expose, or let me say, let's say, have conversation and declare relevant information to them and meet them on a very good relationship level, not that they are third person, somebody who is an intruder into our environment. Because in the first place, it's your team members or your workers' right that they're exercising. So nobody will walk into your organization if the person has nothing to do with you. But like a relationship, when its conversation is done around it, it's well managed. If we look at the relationship very well, apart from husband and wife's relationship, the next important relationship around us is the employer-employee, and that is what the trade unions represent. So for me, we as management will have to have an open conversation around the unions and discuss our problems and difficulties with them so that they help us together, we find solution to it and win-win. Because if you share relevant information with them, something you don't have, you don't have. After what are they looking at? They are looking at good working conditions for their people. And what is the employer also looking at? Quality employees that are engaged, that will help them to achieve their objectives and goals. So if you look at it, we are all working towards, or the union and the employer are working towards one thing. So if you have discussion, frank discussion about your problems, why this and this should be, I think they will understand and we foster a relationship and move on like social partners.
Master
Hello?
is saying that we need to foster a relationship with each other as union, as
Yes.
employers. And then we need to ensure that there's openness. There are conversations going on every time so that that antagonistic behavior, that antagonistic nature that we knew of the union is no longer the case. They have gone through processes, procedures, and now unions are pursuing the same goals as employers. They want the best employees and they want the outcome of the productivity that the employer is looking for. They are also there for it. One thing that you said is that the business know that if employees are not there, they are also not there. And so then it means
Yes.
that you have to ensure that the employees are still there, the organization is there, and then they also are in business as well as it were. Great. So Esther, now let's see. What are the legal rights and obligations of HR professionals in relation to trade unions? The legal rights and obligations of HR professionals in relation to trade unions. Was that
Come
clear?
again. Come again.
The legal rights, what are the legal rights and
Mhm.
obligations of HR professionals in relation to trade unions?
The let's start with the procedure first.
Right.
How do trade unions enter your organization? They have the right or rights, but there's a procedure they have to follow before they enter your organization. One, the worker has to express the interest to form or join a union. Or the union itself at times contacts workers and sell the idea to them. If they are interested, they give them enrollment forms to fill. If they fill the enrollment forms, then they write to management. Even before they write to management, they interact with the workers and elect executives that will represent them. Normally, the executives are 9: the chairman, the vice chairman, the secretary, the assistant secretary, the trustee. The trustee is the financial secretary. Then the first trustee is the financial secretary. Then the second trustee is the treasurer. Then they have executive member. Then they have a youth representative. Then they have a women commissioner. Then they will write a letter with these executives and introduce the union to the management official. That is called the legal procedure. And this is what the HR normally receives. After this procedure, then they write to the chief labor officer of the Department of Labor. Normally, in the practice, we call them labor department. I want the professionals to know that it's not the National Labor Commission you go and apply for bargaining certificate. You write to the labor department. Then the chief labor officer will send a verification form to the organization. Then they will look at it. If truly these people that they've mentioned that they are joining a union or they are forming a union are parts of their organization. The HR is also to look at this and see, is this people here? Where are they working? If you look at Section 79 of the Labor Act, who gave us the rights as workers to join or form a union. If you come to subsection 2, it's also giving another legal leeway to management that some people who works with them can never be part of the union. That is a legal right the HR have to look at very well, because it's one of the controversies that comes up when the unionization process starts. They say people of decision making, people who hold power, people who are shareholders and representatives, a lot. But one key thing that comes up is PAs of executives and drivers of chief executives. Anytime the organization starts or procedure is going on, those guys in that position will want to join the union because they see themselves as they are not holding any position of trust, they are not managing anything serious, they are not decision makers. But because they normally run around with the big boys and they listen to conversation, they are privy to confidential information, they are privy to confidential information, the management of HR will not allow them to. Sorry, I have a break in my transmission.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, fine. Let's go
Uh-huh.
around.
Yo. So the HR have to look at this law and make sure that before they sign the verification form from the labor department, all these criteria are taken care of. And those who are supposed to be managers, decision makers under the subsection 2 are taken care of, and decision is taken on them by the parties, so that at the end of it, as the relationship continues, it doesn't bring any conflict or disputes. So the law is a double-edged sword, taking care of the management and the employees. So those are the legal rights under the law for the management of the HR will have to look at before continuing the unionization process or making inputs into the process. Because one thing we should note that it is the rights, it doesn't rest on management part to say you have to unionize or you don't have to. But because it's a relationship that we have to manage for a win-win situation all the time. Those things come up and we discuss it and we form an opinion and write an MOU on it or write a minute on it and we continue the relationship.
Law gives the right to the employer and to the employees who form. And so that is what the HR professional needs to understand and know and implement. When we are not, the fact that they can join union doesn't mean just everybody or anybody can join. You have to screen and make sure that those who are joining have the legal backing to join and that they are not in sensitive positions that would affect the organization in any way. Thank you, Esther, for that. We have Michael Kisi watching us from Cape Coast. Thank you, Michael. You are always here with us. Alex Adi, hello, from Kofi from Tema. We have Portia Amonu. Yes, Portia, it's good to see you again. And she didn't say where she was watching us from, but that's fine. Thank you for joining us. Right, Esther, how
Mommy,
can HR professionals effectively engage with trade unions to create a positive working relationship? Before you take that, I see a few joiners, Stephanie Danso from Ayapuri,
fine,
and
fine.
then Portia Memu says she's joining us from Tema 2025. Great. So Esther, how can HR professionals effectively engage with trade unions to create a positive working relationship? You know, sometimes we meet them, we meet them with a shield. We are like, we are like that. But how can we do that without meeting them with a shield?
Okay. One thing we should take note of is that the trade union is a social partner and therefore also seeks the interest of the employer while seeking the interest of their members too.
Mhm.
Negotiations only provides a platform for a common interest to be shared, more so when agreements are reached. So don't HR shouldn't put any shield. Like I mentioned earlier, conversation is very important. And even the law enjoins us to share relevant information, one. Two, the law says we should match productivity with remuneration. What at all does trade unions come around us to do? Just to negotiate a condition of service for their team members. And one thing we should note is that the greatest needs of the employer, if we juxtapose it with the greatest needs of the employee, they match so well. Let's look at this. Why the HR should not worry himself or herself just to have conversation and make your books plain. What is the employee or the worker looking for or the employee looking for? He's looking for his retirement and pension in future when he becomes an old man. He's looking at his current salary and the maintenance of it. He's looking at his job security. And what is the employer looking for? He's looking for engaged quality employee. He's looking at to cut costs down so that he will produce at the least cost. And again, what is he looking at? That he'll be competitive against national and global competition. That's all. And for him to achieve this is people. And I guarantee you that every employer knows that his best bet in this global environment is his people. So the way forward is we share relevant information. These days, if you look at what we are doing as HRs, we are all saying we are working towards performance management, merit pay, blah 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 blah, but we are not working our talk. A lot of us don't even share the projections for the year with our team. So if the union doesn't know what the projections are and they come to negotiate, what would they ask? They ask the moon because you don't share information. So to be safe, what I've learned over the years is that from day one, you start engaging. Let them be your friend. Talk to them. Let them know what the Kitty is holding, because in the working environment, we create to share. So, if my fellow HRs, we have to share. And thank God for these days, the HR community that is growing very big. When we started, there was nothing like HR network, see that you could learn from. But today we have a network of experienced team members that we could talk to anytime. So share information and your fears in dealing with the unions, with the professionals and the networks that you believe. You may not know one message or one point somebody may give you will help you to navigate around the trade unions, because whether we like it or not, they are here to stay. They are around us. We should also know that one thing that push our employees or workers to go and join trade union is that if we are not meeting their needs, we are not speaking to them, especially our line managers and those who manage the teams. They are separate from the teams. They don't communicate. They don't know what is going on. Everything is in the graveyard. So communicate and carry your team and let your line managers help you to manage your team. And before you know, the union become your friend, because they understand that you exist, because they are existing because you exist. So the little I know, the union is not a threat at all. Speak to them. If you can't speak to those at the grassroots, maybe your union executives or the regional officer or industrial relation officer that comes to you, they have other executives. They are GSs, they are industrial relation officers, they are deputies. You can work there and discuss relationship with them. And if you show respect, I bet you they are there to support you. Hello.
Right. So it means that sometimes the employer is the same reason why he gets unionized. Because when
Yes.
they fail to meet the needs of the employees, and they fail to give them listening ears, when they fail to give them what is legally, beneficial to them and a bona fide kind of benefit, then they resort to looking for who can talk for us. Then we get
Yes.
unionized. Awesome.
Ex-
Before we continue the
exactly.
conversation, it's getting exciting. Let me introduce
Exactly.
our next trainee to our audience. We have an upcoming training, and I bet you don't have to miss it. We have effective salary and labor-related negotiations. It's coming off on the 30th and 31st of August at 9 a.m. and it ends at 3:30 p.m. each day at the Crystal Palm Hotel, which is at Tessano. You don't want to miss it. We have Lisiane Kwabeji coming to deliver on that topic. So mark it, share it, and let people come in to learn and be trained. Thank you. I'll go back to what the comments that are coming from our listeners, and we can continue there. We have Beatrice joining us from Haicho. We have Bawa Masu from East South District at Assembly. And then we have Grace Campbell watching from Fairman. And Mr. Arthur says, thank you for the insight. So on that note, Esther, thank you for the insight so far. Now, how can we as HR professionals foster a positive work environment that minimizes the likelihood of unionization? We just talked about the fact that we can actually maintain an environment where we don't really have the unions coming in. But in failure to do certain things, they force the union to, come into our environment, which is not a bad thing. But then if we really want to be not unionized, then what must we do as HR professionals?
Yeah. Continuing from where I stopped, engage. Engage your team members. There's something that we also call work committees or work councils. For everybody to be heard in the team, you in a very well structured organization, we have departments, we have units, we have sessions, we have team leaders. So, to form a work council or work committee, you could select individuals from the various departments and give them the power to represent their team members, before management to bring their grievances, to bring their concerns, to bring issues, their additions and subtractions. For all you know, the people on the grassroots, those at the machine floor, those who contact or are in touch with our customers, they know the business better than us. At times, the simple inputs that machine operator, that employee will want, oh, if we push the net here, it will be better. The manager won't hear. But if his voice is represented in a bigger forum, that all other managers or team leaders are there to discuss the workflow, to discuss their welfare, to discuss their safety at the workplace, they know that they are ahead. And the little inputs are made and the management carry it and they see that it has been implemented. Then they are good to go. If I will not bother you with this, there was this organization that thought the union was a threat, and they saw that the union, they heard from the grapevine that their people have started unionization. So in my previous life as a consultant in another consulting firm, they contacted us, what do we do? It's a form committee, work council, and just behave as if you don't know that the union is coming and let them express themselves, what their concerns are. And they form this. Within 1 week, they're able to form everything. And what do you think these people know? Not need, not even money, their safety. And they brought it to bear that our PPEs are no good. They don't come in time. And for you to even get a PPE as if it's a cocaine you want to buy, sorry for that word anyway, because it was so secretive, managers give it to who they want to, something that is for their welfare and the work of the organization. So immediately management had, not knowing, this is not even a policy from any big boy. One departmental head just felt like, I want to do it this way. So immediately they saw that out. The union just said, fizzle out. So we have to engage. That is one part. Form a work committee. Listen to them. Listen to the departmental heads and let them know what is going on, what the projections are, what is in the kitty. Give them a list. Even if you don't have money to offer, let them know that this is where we are going. This is our vision. Carry them into the vision of the organization. And they feel concerned. They feel attached. You know, all of us, we have egos. Even if the work is not going well, what about my pension? If it is going well, I know my job security is assured. But if I'm just coming and going, I don't know what is happening around me. I don't know whether tomorrow when I wake up and come, I will have my job. I don't know whether my salary, they will negotiate. I don't know whether they will add something. I don't even know how much they will add. You are just there. And we are human beings. We can't allow that. So HR should have to put these things in place, engage with your team, be proactive and get in touch with them, not be in your office and throw a memo into the notice board that everybody should go through it and listen without you talking to them. And manage your line managers to manage the people well. Then you'll be fine to go without a union.
Manage them. Don't be in your office and just be releasing your bullets, your memos, and expect that people will just be okay. They will not be okay. They will be looking for avenues to think. Emmanuel Perry said, I have a question. Go ahead, please. Okay, great. So Emmanuel Perry says, how should they negotiate collective bargaining agreements?
Come again.
Emmanuel Perry says that how do they negotiate collective bargaining agreements? Well, I'm sure he wants to say that how is collective agreement, negotiated?
Okay. When this information is gotten to the chief labor officer, then they will issue something we call collective bargaining certificates. That is the authority given to the union to negotiate on behalf of the workers that are affiliated to them. Then now we set up, or they set up something we call standing negotiating committee. That means the two parties, the union and the management, have set up a committee to negotiate and discuss the employment and non-employment issues concerning the workers who are affiliated to them. Then, after the standing negotiating committee, there's something we call the rules and constitutions of the standing negotiating committee. You know, every committee should have a rule. So normally we HRs, we sit down for the unions to bring us this draft. And because we don't have an input into it, we just sign. I bet you if you're an HR, don't sign a rules and constitution of a standing negotiating committee without your inputs. If you don't understand the process and the procedures, look for somebody to look at it for you. Because one day when there are issues that you have to take to the National Labour Commission, that you have to take to the Labour Courts, those are the evidences they ask. What are your rules? So you have to look at that rules very, very, very carefully. Normally the unions bring the draft and we just speak it. Oh, we read the English. We don't understand the comments and the full stops. Then we let it go. Then after the pardon me.
The spirit behind the word.
After the signing of the rules and constitution of the standing negotiating committee, then either party will send a proposal for the collective agreement to be negotiated. HR professional, please note, you have the right to submit a proposal to a union for negotiation. A lot of us didn't know that. We always sit down and wait for them to bring their draft. You can also send a draft. And take notes. Anytime, especially the maiden collective agreement is a very, very important document that you should not play with. If you play with it, it may cost your job, or even if you leave, it may cost the organization. Your policies, your practices, your procedures that you are practicing before the union is entering the organization. Make sure that you imbibe that into the collective agreement proposal and discuss it and put it into the collective agreement, the maiden one. So that is when the collective agreement process starts. After the CBC, which is the collective bargaining certificates, then you set up your standing negotiating committee, then your rules and constitution is signed, then the draft collective agreement is presented, then we start negotiation. There is one thing you should note also, that we have something we call joint standing negotiating committee. There are companies that have more than one union. It's possible. A typical example is the Ghana Cocoa Board. I think there are about 3 or 4 unions that operate there. When it happens this way, the chief labor officer look at the union with the higher number. Then they issue the collective agreement in their name. But when there's time for negotiation, the other unions bring an input and they also go to the table. But the spokesperson for the union is the person who is holding the collective agreement. So we have the joint standing negotiating committee too. So that is what it is about that. There's one thing I have to let you know, maybe if nobody asks, it may slide. There is something we also call EBU, Enterprise-Based Union. And we have it in Ghana, and it's helping a lot of organizations. This one, because the law says 2 or more people can join a union. Workers in organization join a union, they gather themselves, fill a form, then they register the union at the Registrar General. Because take note, before the chief labor officer gives a collective bargaining certificate to a union, it has to see that you are registered at the Registrar General Department before they register you and give you a collective bargaining certificate. And a lot of enterprise-based unions find it difficult to negotiate with their managers. So normally they get a consultant to do negotiating on their behalf, but they issue of the certificate is in their name. So that's another aspect of it. So we have something to look for enterprise-based union. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Esther, for that. Emmanuel Parry, I hope that your question has been well answered. I believe very strongly that it's been well answered. So please keep your questions coming in, keep your comments coming in. We have a few minutes to wrap up, so it's better your questions come in now. So Esther has mentioned that sometimes some environments have more than a union operating in there. In that case, the labor officer may issue certificate to one with the bigger numbers, and then they have the right to negotiate on behalf. So they normally have the joint standing negotiation committee. But if you have a single union in your environment, then most likely you have the standing negotiation committee. And what she's saying is that it's important that we ensure that we go through the rules and regulations and submit the proposals. And for me, what I'll say with my own experience as well, it's important that you know what the law says, what the position of the law is, and ensure that whatever they have brought is in line. Esther has also advised that we ensure that we incorporate our existing policies and procedures in there so that it doesn't become that this is the position of the union that is taking over the environment. It is also the position of the employer together that is ruling there. And then the enterprise-based union. I'm sure if some of you didn't know that today you know that even workers can form and register at the registrar general, and then they can get a consultant to lead them to negotiate with the employer. So that is also there. Great. Esther, what advice would you have for HR professional facing challenges with trade unions or unionization procedure? What advice would you give them?
Come again.
What advice would you give to HR professionals that in spite of everything they have done, they are facing challenges with the unions in their environment?
Oh, okay. I think we've even mentioned it earlier. Maybe the relationship have started on the wrong notes,
Yeah.
in a very antagonistic way or in a conflict mood. You have to go back and have conversation and rewrite the wrong so that you establish the relationship better. There is nothing wrong in saying I'm sorry if you think the environment is so bad that you think that you cannot correct it. If I'll give a typical example, there was a company I managed until recently. When I entered there, the union and the management were so parallel. They can never meet. Indiscipline, negotiation, and from the top to the down of the two parties. It took us to National Labour Commission on different, at the commission we have about 4 issues at the same time. Then at the Labour Court there is another. Their lawyers will write, we will write. So when I look at it, I say, no, let me visit them. So I visit the JGSs and the team, the big boys' team of the union concern, and then we have conversation. What are your concerns? Maybe because I'm an ADR person, we talk about it. I note their concern down. Meanwhile, I also note the concerns of management before I went to visit. So we discuss and find a leeway. A, B, C, D is what is happening to this company now. W, Y, Z, we can't do. These are the issues. Take care of this. So we had a win-win situation. And at least the relationship has moved forward and the environment is better than I found it. So be bold and work to them if you identify that this relationship is not taking us anywhere. And mind you, we are in a working environment to achieve, and our people are competitive advantage. And in an environment that the workers know the union is them, and it's everything that the union says is what we will do. So if you don't handle that relationship well, you will not achieve your target as departmental head, as HR, as an organization. So the HR has to carry his managers along. Managers have to provide the necessary tools and training and even authority recognition to the HR to effectively manage the relationship. It is very, very important. At times, to we the HRs, we are left alone. It's your target. Go and achieve it. Meanwhile, the HR is only one. And all the other departmental heads are also managing teams. And they at their various sessions, they are the HRs, and everything they say is management that is saying. Everything they do is management that is doing. So the HR has to speak to his management team to understand that our people need A, B, C, need respect. They need to be communicated to. We need to manage them so that they be motivated for us to achieve our goals. And today, HR should know and tell their managers that it was those days that all the employers or managers in the companies are looking at tasks. You have to do this, you have to do this. Today is our people. So you HR, you have to let your professional acumen come to play so that you manage your people. You who are the managers to manage the team with you so that you'll be able to have a productive relationship with the union and have a productive environment for which we gather as a company.
Thank you so much, Esther. That is very insightful. Billy Combian says he's following keenly from family. And Atu has a question for us. He says, what happens if the company bans union activities? Can employees still go ahead and form unions with the key members not being victimized by the company? It's a very relevant information or question.
Like I mentioned earlier, the company cannot ban union activity because they don't have that right. It is the right of the worker to join or form a union. So, but excuse me for my language because I don't know what to say. Some of us, we we want favor in the presence of our employers. So immediately two workers start having conversation about unionization. The third person wants to go and tell HR or tell manager B so that he will be favored. But if you want to join, especially a trade union that is well established and know what it is about, and you fill their enrollment forms and you go through their processes, they know what to do to protect you because no company has the right to ban workers from joining a union. Even if they will do that, they will do it in silence. So if you want to join a union, look through and join a union that is well established and know his craft so that they will be able to front for you, not you fronting for yourself. If we can all remember a few months or weeks ago, the Sonon Asogli and the TUC thing that is happening. It was two people, but the union is backing them to solve the dispute. So if you say the management ban, management has no right to ban anybody from joining the union. It's your right, but follow the right processes and procedures and talk to the right people. If you think that is your right, this right you want to exercise it, because it is your right under the law. From our constitution to the labor act, it is our right to form or join a union. So no company has the right to ban you. But join the trade union that will, and discuss with them how they know what to do, and they will be able to form the union and live with the organization.
So, there you go. No company can ban union activities. Neither should they victimize. And yes, we know that some are very daring. And we also know that there's also redress for those who are victimized. And so it means that you need to know where to go, what to do. And then again, if you want to join the union, follow the right procedure, follow the right way, and do the right thing so that you cannot be worried. Now, I think this is a question that I want to pose, and let's see how it goes. Um, National Labor Department and National Labor Commission. Can you tell us the difference between the two? Because the reason I'm asking is that I have had experience where employees want to lodge a complaint and they end up going to National Labor Department instead of going to National Labor Commission. Some even HR do not know the difference. They want to write and then they write to Labor National Commission, maybe on the Labor Department. Can you please tell us the distinction to what they see that true?
You see, I'm smiling. We don't have National Labor Department. We have Labor Department.
Labor Department.
And mind you, if you look at their legal documents, it's Department of Labor. But we have pronounced or changed the place. Labor Department, Labor Department. So even at times when they write you a letter and they write the Department of Labor, you will even be looking for them. It's a Department of Labor under the Ministry of Labor and Employment or whatever they call them. They are part of the Employment Ministry. They are supposed to give bargaining certificate. They do the inspection of the factories. Those days they even register and give the register workers and give us the labor cards. Those days before the National Labor Commission was formed. They were operating under the old Act at 299, even before I became a practitioner. When the new Act, Labor Act 2003 at 651 came to be, then the National Labor Commission was formed. National Labor Commission is formed, and that is where grievances for both the employer and the employee are addressed. Every dispute at the working environment is supposed to be directed at the Labor Commission. They deal with it. We have commissioners, I think there are 7 commissioners who are there representing labor, representing government, representing employees. They are there. And they have industrial relation officers that try to do facilitation. And they have another set who are the mediators and arbitrators who try to solve the problems, the disputes that erupt around the work environment there when you lodge complaints. And one thing I want the community to know too, the employer sees the commission as if the National Labor Commission is for workers. It is not for workers. It's for the working community of Ghana. The employer can go there and lodge complaint. The managing director, who is also a worker, if he or she has a dispute, can walk to the National Labor Commission to lodge a complaint and his case will be addressed. The worker can also go there. So if you have issues, disputes between you and the union, between you and your worker, you go to the National Labor Commission, not the Labor Department. And to add to it, the two heads are different. If you go to the Labor Department or Department of Labor, their head is the Chief Labor Officer. When you come to the National Labor Commission, they have Executive Secretary. So when you receive letters that is signed by Executive Secretary, know that it's coming from the National Labor Commission. If you have a letter that is signed by the Chief Labor Officer, then you know it's from Labor Department.
Awesome. So that is a good distinction to make here so people know where to go. And the National Labor Commission is not just for employees. Employers can also go there when they have a dispute, they have a challenge, they can also go there. Zachary Salmat has joined us. Awesome. Santos is watching us from home. This is a recorded version. It will be posted for those of you who joined us late. You can still listen in and then learn whatever we have learned in the last 45 or so minutes. Esther, it's been awesome. I will take your last words very quickly before we go. But let me introduce again our sponsors and then the trainings that are coming up. So Quick Fix Creative, they are your people to go to when you want printing works, when you want artworks. You can contact Quick Fix Creative. They sponsor that's HR Digest. They can be contacted on 055-2090-057, 055-2090-057. And then SEDAT Consult, we bring to you the HR Digest, and we are your consultants on all labor and HR issues, right from entry to exit and anything in between. 0244629245 is how to reach us. 0244629245. Now we have an upcoming training, and that is effective salary and labor-related negotiations. It's happening at the Crystal Palm Hotel at Tesano. It's every day from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The date is 30th to 31st August 2023. That is it, right? 2023. So register, join in, and come and learn how to negotiate and also put in place effective salary and labor related negotiations. All right. So Esther, back to you. What are your last words for the audience?
My conclusion will be employers and workers need to appreciate their relationship as a partnership. It is intended to achieve mutual interests and not for which one party should take an advantage of the other. Because every harmonious workplace leads to high productivity and increased wages. Because one, high productivity, the employer will benefit, the worker will benefit. And one way to achieve this is for both the employer and the worker to arm themselves with the provisions of the Labor Act. The Act 651 is a very negotiated act. So look at the parts or the sections of the law that pertains to you and use it. The same way the union to look at the parts that pertains to them and use it effectively. Then you have conversation, interact, talk, and we all grow. And when you shine your corner, I shine my corner. Because anytime our organization grow, another person is added, subsidiaries are open, then we all reduce the unemployment rate. Even if we are not adding more factories, but we are adding or expanding the new ones, the old ones that we have, then we are good to go. So what I want to say is that appreciate the relationship and communicate. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've been talking empowering the HR professional to navigate trade unions and unionization at all times. Thank you, Esther, for coming. You've been so helpful. You've opened our eyes to so many things, and I'm sure that our audience are going back, better than they came in. You've learned so much. If any questions come up in the course of the week, we'll still direct it to you and we'll get your responses. Thank you. Have a great weekend. A great weekend to all our audience. Thank you for joining in. The link will be made available. Share it, let it go wide, let others understand what is happening in the trading union association space. Thank you all. Have a great Sunday evening. Bye.